A big part of this course is learning how to find material to answer your questions, but even more importantly, to understand the quality of that material. Is the material that you found actually helping to answer your question? How did the people who wrote that material find their evidence, and could they have interpreted a different way? Well, here's where to start. Is your material a primary source? That is it direct observation or personal experience? Primary source could be something that the person themselves saw, like a scientific research study that they did, or an event that they actually saw with their eyes. It could be a speech that they gave. It could be an idea that they had, but it's something that they themselves directly experienced or directly created. Or is your source a secondary source? That is, did someone else come along and see that primary source and then write about it? In this course, we want you to only use primary sources. The primary sources are what you're going to be using to write your summaries. This is where you get the information that you can assess and decide how well it supports your own ideas. The only way to do that, to really understand information, is to go right to the primary source. I am going to encourage you also to read other things. You're going to need background and more general information. And so, in fact, I would suggest you start with Wikipedia, but then when you're ready to find the piece of content that you're going to write your summary on, it has to be a primary source. I'm going to give you a super quick overview of how to use the Arizona State University Library Search to find the kind of content that you need. So here we are on the ASU Library website, and you see right here in the middle of the page this search field where it says One Search, and that's a great option to start with One Search. I'm just going to click on this arrow here so that you can see that there are a bunch of different options. You can also try Google Scholar. There are a lot of different ways that you can search, but One Search is just the simplest one to start with. Now imagine that your question was, how will humans settle on the moon? That's your big goal question. And maybe your very first, more focused question might be, what kind of houses or structures would they need? Well, you could try typing in that whole question, but you'd find it a lot easier if you just type in a couple of sentences, a couple of phrases or words. And so here I'm going to type in lunar habitat and see what that finds us if I go through One Search. So here's the ASU Library answer for One Search. What it gives you is a giant list. This is page 1 of 11,708 results. And so that is possibly more results than you would ever need, but you can start looking down and seeing which ones might be useful. And you can click on the hyperlinked titles to learn more. Now this first one is a book. It's only available at the West Campus Library. That's not going to be helpful since we're online and also working remotely. Also, not all books are primary sources. Most books contain tremendous amounts of information that was gleaned from primary sources, and therefore the book itself is a secondary source. Some books, by the way, are available full text online, and so don't immediately put them out of your mind. You could use a chapter of a book if it was a primary source. And here's one that says article. And look at this, it says peer-reviewed. Now this purple icon that says peer-reviewed is really, really important for this class. It's an extra step on top of being a primary source. It's what academics do when they are publishing their original research, their primary research. It goes to a journal that actually finds 2, 3, or 4 other experts in their field to review their article before it's published. And then the author has to revise the article according to the comments of these critics, the peers who reviewed their article, before it's published. This is another set of checks to try to make sure that the original research that we publish has the best data, has been thought through the most thoroughly, and has the most firm conclusions that it can. And so peer-reviewed is like primary source plus. And so try to always find a peer-reviewed journal, and that way you also know that it's a primary source. So let's see. So let's look at the title of this, Utilizing the Analytical Hierarchy Process to Determine the Optimal Lunar Habitat Configuration. If that is a welcoming title to you and you feel excited about that, absolutely, you could click on that and go with it. It could be that not all of those words are familiar to you. You can look them up, or you can keep looking for more options. Here's another one, lunar habitat, micrometeorite, and radiation shielding options, applications, and assessments. That looks like it could be a really good choice. Let's take a look at it and see what we think. I'm clicking on the title here. I'm going to scroll down. You can look at all this information that they have, because sometimes they've got, okay, I don't see it here, but sometimes down here they actually also give you other papers that have used this in their references. So if you wanted an even more up-to-date, something more recent than 2011, you could find out which newer papers have even cited this one. This would be a fine choice. You can click View PDF, and then you can download it and you can use it as your content for the week and write your summary about it. You can also go back and try different search terms, or you can continue looking through these 11,708 results. This is the beginning of how you find the right content for you.